BlogTalk Radio.
Hello everyone, this is Chrism and I'd like to welcome you to another conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience. And I'm happy to say that this is a big, broad, beautiful country, beautiful world, beautiful planet that we live in. And I'm just happy to say that I'm back here in California from the beautiful, great state of Minnesota, where the temperatures were reaching sometimes below 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Very exciting, but I have to say, I haven't felt the 30 below or the 40 below or the 60 below that sometimes they get there. The Kundalini, even though you could feel your pants freezing up, there was always an enclosure of heat around me in those temperatures. It was very interesting to feel, opening up my shirt and walking around with the jacket unbuttoned and just kind of feeling how the Kundalini in me would respond to such severe temperature changes. And I have to say, she did not let me down. Not to say that we go run naked in 14 degree below Fahrenheit weather, but to definitely say to anybody who has the Kundalini that it will stay with you. It will not stop energizing you or your body with that divine blend of heat and tactile pressure that the Kundalini will bring into a person. I would like to welcome the chat room here. If there was some way that I could see the chat room, I have my laptop out, I have my iPhone out, I have my iPad out, and I'm not being allowed to load a chat room up today. Don't know why. Typical BlogTalk radio technical glitches, I'll have to say. So for anybody or everybody who is in the chat room, I would like to say welcome, and to the people that are visiting us in the archives in the future, you future people, I'd like to say welcome to you. For those of you who are listening on the radio or their smartphones, I'd like to say hello and welcome to you. And before I get too much further, I would like to welcome Her Holiness, the Celtic questionable queen of oh my God, I think I got myself in a corner on that one. I'd like to welcome Santara Kundalini.
Oh, I promised to have a noise the last time, didn't I? I forgot.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I can see the chat room, Chrism, and
cool.
So can you hear my voice echoing?
In my room here?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I don't hear you echoing at all this time.
Okay, I hear myself. So maybe in the chat room, because I can see, guys. Hello, everybody. Elizabeth and MJ and everybody who's there, Fashji. Just let me know there by texting if the sound is okay, if you can hear Chrism okay. The echo has gone, so that's good. I hope I'm still online. Am I? Hello?
Yep. I'm hearing you loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, so let me begin then, Chrism, by just giving people the web address that they can go to if they would like to make a donation to support the work that is done by Kundalini Awakening Systems, by the work that you do. And if you type in www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com, you will come to Chrism's site, and on the upper right-hand corner, you will see a donate button, and just follow the instructions there. As always, we say to you, donations are not expected, demanded, or, there's no requirement whatsoever for anybody who is listening to this show to donate. Yet, by the same token, if you're in a position to donate, if you would wish to donate, then donations are very welcome, because this is how all the things that Chrism does, this is how he is supported, and how Kundalini Awakening Systems can continue through the donations that are given to the love and grace of people who want to support the program. So let me say thank you. And if you are in a position to do that, we will be delighted to receive your donation. Chrism, welcome back to California. It was wonderful the last couple of shows being in Minnesota. I really enjoyed them. I've been enjoying all the conversations on the groups from, the fantastic people that were at the seminars, and it's been wonderful to hear them sharing of their experience and of the obviously very special seminar that took place there. And it's a real privilege for those of us who haven't been there and who haven't met these people in person to have a taste of what that experience is like. I've been to seminars, so I do relate, but I haven't been to this one. And so it has been really, really lovely, because that doesn't always happen, as you know, after seminars. So it's really nice, and I just want to say thanks to everybody, because I know some of them are listening. It's been really lovely. So thank you, Chrism, and everybody. Looking forward to the show today.
Thank you, Santara. Thank you, Santara Kunalini, and this is the renamed Amelia Santara, who Facebook renamed Santara Kundalini. Thank you, Facebook. So,
well, not quite. I just say also thank you to the person who reported me as having a false name. That was a very deliberate thing that somebody, very kindly did, which they had no idea. It's actually, I'm quite liking being Kundalini, the Kundalini name, because Santara is my Kundalini name, and it's a privilege to have Kundalini as part of my name as well. I'm enjoying it, Chrism.
Absolutely.
So it's an ill wind.
Well, I would like to let the listeners know that the guest call-in number is a United States area code 347-934-0026. If you would like to call into the program and ask a question about any aspect of your Kundalini, please call that number 347-934-0026. I would also like to let people know that on the YouTube network, 310 videos can be accessed if you go to the Chrism.Kundalini, Kundalini channel, and that channel will direct you to the many different videos that we have on this information. You can also reach us on Facebook at the Kundalini Awakening ! Group in the Facebook network, and as well as the Kundalini Awakening Systems 2 and Kundalini Awakening Systems 3. All three of these groups are public groups, but we also have a secret private group that if you would like to contact me at Chris Mitchell on Kundalini or on Facebook, that you may indeed do that and contact me privately, and I will go ahead and add you onto the secret private group so that your privacy may remain intact. We're also on the Yahoo network at Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 at Yahoo Groups, Kundalini Healing at Yahoo Groups, and on the Google network of Google Plus at Kundalini Awakening ! So there you have it. There you have all the different contact points. You can go to KundaliniAwakeningsystems1.com, a site put up by Glenn Ola, and has many of the teachings there. And I want to say a thank you to Glenn Ola for designing and maintaining that site. And I would like to also thank Rosemary Goliath and Eileen Lauro for helping to organize the Minnesota seminar that was so successful. It was a very, very great honor to be there, and it was very interesting to see how these seminars are evolving, certainly with regards to the Shaktipat, which was, to say the least, a Paleolithic Shaktipat. So if you can understand what I mean by Paleolithic Shaktipat, it was going down to the very core of our natures, the very core of our beings, and tapping into that inner source, which is where the Kundalini resides, and bringing that force into the present moment. I would also like to thank Julia for her great healings, and Steve for his great healings. I'd like to thank Julia and Steve as sacred male, sacred female during the seminar, doing tantric gazing for a very long period of time as people came within that sacred bubble of Shaktipat that we were giving there at the Dakota Ridge Best Western Motel. I believe we're going to be back there in November. In November of 2015, right after another 2-day exposition treatment there in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. So thank you, Steve. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you, the Minnesota Kundalini Awakening community. Thank you to all of you. Many of you were at the seminar, and many of you have hosted community meetings around the Twin Cities of Minnesota, and I'd like to say what a great honor it is to be a part of that community, and I would encourage anybody in Minnesota or even beyond who has made it to a Kundalini Awakening event to call Rosemary up or any of the people that help her and see if you can partake of that community as well. It is a sterling group of people, a beautiful, wonderful group of people that are exploring what it is to have an awakened Kundalini community in their area. And I would invite people of all areas to begin to look at this quite seriously. So I'm going to bring Eileen Laurel on here. Hi, Eileen.
Hi, Chrism.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm still very up from the seminar. It was a wonderful seminar.
Yes, it was very unique. It was very unusual. And I understand that you're looking to see if you can organize one with Bruno down there in the Fort Myers area of Florida. And I just want to publicly thank you and Bruno for your efforts in this area.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chrism. We don't have a date set yet, but we're starting the process. And we're looking to do something a bit different. So it'll be fun. There's a lot of energy actually between he and I, and then with the new Floridian that I met. I won't mention the name.
That would be, I believe, that would be Sailboat Mike.
Yeah. Okay.
Sailboat Mike, yes, and I believe Sailboat Mike is also listening to this program. So welcome and hello to you, Sailboat Mike.
And he's also on board. So there's at least 3 of us that will be working on it, and we're starting the process. We have a meeting for any Floridians who are members of the CAST program on March 28th here in Fort Myers, Florida, and that'll be our first get-together. And I have Michelle from Port St. Lucie. She's coming down for the meeting, so...
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like maybe another community is forming as well.
I have a feeling. I
think it's time.
But thank you. So I want to thank you too, Chrism, for the wonderful weekend. It was a wonderful group of people. Every seminar is different, and this one had a really unique flavor to it, for me anyway. And I think a lot of it has to do with the people that were there. And I'm inviting anyone who's interested to any of the seminars because each one is unique. And the next one coming up is in Washington. And I don't know if Elizabeth's going to get on, but at some point in this show, please put a plug in for that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, this would be in Washington State, and I'm going to invite Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez to call into the program. Good. I would like to hear it from her, and I'd like people to get used to hearing it from her because, you know, she is the point person. She is the star of that show, and I would love for her to call in. So, Elizabeth, you can call in. That would be great. And I want to thank you once again, Eileen, for all the help and assistance that you gave for the Minnesota event. Thank you, Eileen.
You're welcome, Chrism.
Put you into the Shiva Blue, my dear. And I would like to bring Her Holiness, Mother Superior Rosemary Goliath on board. Hello, Rosemary.
Hello, Chrism. Thank you again for coming.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for putting up with my body and my all of my challenges to the status quo of your domicile. Thank you for allowing me into your home.
Thank you. A privilege. And
thank you also for putting on such a great seminar and for putting together such a great table at the Health Expo there in the Twin Cities. Thank you, Rosemary. You deserve a whole shipload of thank yous for all the work and all the time and all the blessings that you added into to these two events. Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you. And it is always my pleasure and a gift to me always to be doing just what there is to do and blessed by it. Thank you for the inspiration.
And we'll be welcoming you out here on the West Coast at the ashram here and on Saturday. And so we'll be seeing you soon, my dear.
Yes.
And moving you into the Shiva Blue, bringing out the newly christened Santara Kundalini. Finally, she made it into the Kundalini. Oh, my God.
Finally. Actually, yeah.
We have a new caller on. Is this Elizabeth?
No, let me go check, Chrism. Let you speak away there and please let me check.
And Santara, don't forget.
I know. We yeah. Hover.
So really, it was quite a unique experience there in Minnesota. I really like the prairie, the cold prairie. You know, I was promised really great levels of snow, and oh my gosh, Chrism, if you come in February, you must like to stay indoors because it's so cold and there's so much snow on the ground you can't even see the sun as it passes overhead. And I think we had maybe 1.5 inches of snow. I don't know if it's anything that I brought over from California, but I don't know. I wasn't too impressed with the levels of snow in Minnesota. Far more impressed with the levels of snow in Boston. I think Boston got everybody's snow. So we'll have to just send some warm feelings to those folks there in Boston and the New England area as their roofs collapse by the weight of the snow, et cetera, and so forth. So let's send some warm air into Boston. There she is. Her Holiness Elizabeth is there, and I'm going to interrupt that nice little conversation they're having there with the yellow balloons. And here we go, bringing Elizabeth on. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi.
How are you?
I am good.
I have heard that about you, my dear. And I want to give you the microphone and make your announcements, my dear.
All righty. Well, I'm just really blessed and humbled to be able to announce a first time here in the state of Washington, Kundalini Awakening Seminar with Chrism. And it's Saturday, May 9th and Sunday, May 10th from 9 to 6 p.m. And there are 6 talks the week prior, starting on Sunday, May 2nd, going all the way around the Puget Sound, back up to Port Townsend, ending on Friday at Expansions Yoga in Silverdale.
Oh, wow. Sounds like a pretty heavy schedule.
Yeah. So, and we're accepting registrations. We've got 15 people already booked at the hotel and about 21 interested. So, we're moving along.
Kundalini at the castle.
Yes.
How nice is that? And I really, really appreciate your excellent organizational skills and putting in all of this work that you have currently done, with regards to getting this seminar underway. This will be the very, 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 very first seminar in the Northwest, the very first one in the Washington State area, And I would encourage anybody and everybody who is interested in having the Kundalini come to this seminar. And my understanding is there will be some sort of a musical entertainment venue that's also going on there. Is that right, Elizabeth?
Oh, yes, sorry. Also, pleased to announce that Dharma Sound Kirtan from Bremerton, Washington, will be playing for about 45 minutes before each of the talks, and then at the end of the first day of the seminar.
Well, there you have it.
And they will
folks.
be, and they're attending the seminar, and they will be, joining us for the whole weekend. So.
Well, welcome to Dharma Sound, and welcome to everybody who is interested in coming to this Kundalini Awakening seminar in Washington State. Thank you, Elizabeth, for calling in and making this announcement. I'm going to ask you to call in every week before we do this. Okay, is that all right?
Yes, sure.
I want people to get to know you, my dear.
Okay.
Putting you into the Shiva Blue, and here we go with Her Holiness Santara coming back on board, and Santara.
That was really nice to hear Elizabeth's voice. My first time hearing her. So
yeah,
it's nice to hear a voice, isn't it?
She's one of these Kundalini people that look like an aspect of the Kundalini. She's very, very feline. She's very much the lioness. She even has her eyes are even like cat's eyes. They're very beautiful. She's a very, very beautiful, stunning woman, and I am honored that she has decided to invite the world to her community and participate in a Kundalini Awakening seminar. So once again, thank you very much, Elizabeth, and I hope everyone gets to participate in hearing her voice in the future conversations that we'll be having. How are you doing, Miss Santara?
I am doing very well, thank you, Chrism. Lots of things happening in my life, but I'm doing really, really well. Nothing new to report particularly.
Well,
Looking
actually, there is more to report from you, my dear.
Oh. Okay.
How was your trip to Kerry?
My trip to Kerry, oh my goodness, it's like 100 years ago, and it was just so recently. My trip to Kerry was amazing. I have, and for those of you who don't know, I have grandchildren. I have 2 young children of my own age, 15 and 12, and I also have 4 grandchildren, 5 actually, but we brought 4 of them to Kerry with us. So I had 6 children in Kerry recently, and we went down last Wednesday, and I was there until Sunday. My son had another new baby, and so John and myself were giving what we call them a baby moon, which was just himself and his partner and the baby having a baby moon for a very long weekend, and we minded the children. But in a Kundalini context as well, which of course is love and service, Chrism and all of that, and it was a privilege for me. But I had some very nice, I had a wonderful Kundalini experience in the woods. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, did you go into the woods?
I did.
And how was that? If you can say, I mean, remember this is a rated G program.
Okay. Yeah, you see, it's amazing. I hadn't anticipated talking about it, so let me gather myself. Okay. Well, I have a teacher, a Kundalini teacher, and as everybody who listens to this program knows, I follow the instructions of my Kundalini teacher because I have, decided through my own free will to follow these instructions as part of my Kundalini process. And so my Kundalini teacher instructed me to go into the woods and to do certain things in the woods. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for a couple of years, going into the woods since I moved to Kerry. And when I go into the woods, I remove my clothing before I go into the woods. And while that might sound like, to some people, now some people would love to do that, but it's not very typical for people to do that, and it might sound strange. For me, at this stage, it's quite normal for me now to. I'm going into the.
What about the? What are the circumstances of the environment when you're? I mean, is it broad daylight? I mean, what is it? Is it like a sunny day at 12 noon? When does your teacher place you out there? This cruel teacher that, oh my gosh. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, no, it's not. Let me explain. The house is in the country, but it is right next door to another farmhouse. Other than that, it's quite isolated. There are some houses up the road. My teacher is very cognizant and has always been very aware and has taught me to always go into the woods in complete safety. So it's always dark. It's pitch black. I typically, there's no lights around. I do bring a torch with me, but I'm quite convinced.
Are you saying it's done at nighttime?
I'm saying it's done at nighttime. Typically after 11 p.m., sometimes at 3 a.m. It depends on what I'm instructed to do. Sometimes my own Kundalini instructs me to do this as well. But so there are different reasons. I suppose motivations for me to.
Thank God that. Because you're a nice person. You do good things for the community. You do good things for your family. Hopefully, this teacher would put you out into the forest in the middle of the night with really, really warm and comfortable weather. Yes?
Well, let me shock you. One of the first things my teacher says when he's planning this, so let's say it's a Monday, and I speak with him, and I'm in Kerry, and he says to me, tomorrow night, what's the weather like, Amelia? Tara, and I'll say, it's fine. And he said, well, if it's windy and stormy and really, really wild, and I know that's exactly how it's going to be, because very typically when I go into the woods, it's lashing rain, it's very cold, there's ice on the grass, and this very cruel teacher particularly likes when it's that way. If I'm in Kerry for a period of time, say for a week, he is quite capable of asking me about the weather and waiting until the weather is that way before sending me.
Oh my God!
I know.
What kind of a beast is this person? My gosh! I'm sending you and your delicate, dainty features out into, first of all, unclothed. Oh my God, that is just so wrong. And then two, out in the middle of the night. Oh my God, that is so wrong. What happens if you trip or something? What happens if you walk into a tree? I mean, what happens
I hurt myself.
Well, you see, God, he's putting you at risk. What a horrible, horrible person this is already.
Well, I am allowed to have a torch. Now, not for all of it. Let me tell you a little bit about, or the listeners, a little bit about the environment. The house has a little yard, but right in front of the house is is about, I suppose, maybe 3/4 of an acre of a field. And some years ago, I think it was 2011, it could even have been 2010 now, I can't remember, this same teacher would have been giving me various instructions. And one of the instructions I was given was to create in this field a flower of life. Now, many of you will know that a flower of life is a sacred geometry. And you interrupt me, Chrism, on that because you could probably explain it better than I what the flower of life is.
Well, the flower of life is a representational construct of the 7 chakras, looking down upon them from the 7th chakra, looking as one would look straight down the spine, and as the 7th chakra is composed by each of the other chakras under it. The flower of life is a compact version of a 2-dimensional representation of the human energetic anatomy.
Well, I gathered all the rocks, and most people will know what it is.
What do you mean you gathered all the rocks? Tell me about, he made you make it out of rocks?
Yes. Not only that, it had to be quite large. I had to measure out 30 feet by 30 feet square, and then gather all these rocks from the land, and they weren't pebbles now. So that took quite a lot.
So let me see. You're moving boulders into place. What did he hire Romans to whip you as well as you did this?
Yes. No.
It must have been English. The English did it.
It was very interesting. I mean, just to talk about it for a while, I remember it was at a time when this teacher, I should say, was giving tasks to what we call his private students, and many of us got different tasks. And we didn't know what the tasks were, at the time, and everybody got different ones. And this teacher said to me, I wish you to create a flower of life, and just told me about the dimensions. And I then had to go away and research this and gather the material. And how was I going to make it? It was to be made absolutely geometrically perfect. I was to record this with camera along all the stages of it. And so it was really interesting. So I began by having what you would call a yardstick, and creating the geometrical design gathered. Before I did that, though, I had to also go to the beach, gather up sand and bring it, because, of course, in the field, the grass growth in Ireland is very prolific. So I had to, in some way, introduce something into the field that would keep the weeds down in a natural way, or slow them down without, So there was a lot of work involved. It took me a long time. And then I began to gather it, but it was a wonderful process, because when this teacher told me that to begin with, well, as one might imagine, my ego was not too thrilled.
Well, he sounds like a brute, this teacher. He sounds like he's really over the edge. I mean, oh my God. Give that man a Prozac.
I tell you, he doesn't have much consideration really for the finer, objections. There are no excuses, such as, but I have children to rear, but I go to work, but I have this and that and the other. There are no excuses really when it comes to a task that is given. And this is one of the very first tasks. Yeah, very. I have to agree, very. But I'm so thankful for it. I probably sound unwell. But at the time, it was one of the very first personal instructions that I began to follow. And so the process of my ego resistance and all of the things that arose during that task were very, very obvious to me. So I don't want to do this. But you have already committed, Amelia, to saying that you will follow the instructions. But that's different. I don't, so all the self-talk, all the ego input, all the things that, my ego said to me, the reasons and the excuses that it gave, I had to surrender to my commitment to this, to what I had, committed to. And it was an amazing reflection of what can actually happen in terms of the Kundalini. It was just wonderful, Chrism. And eventually it took weeks and weeks, and I got it done. And not only that, but it also became, I didn't realize it at the time, but it became a working meditation. So all the different phases of it, it became a devotion in actual fact, because as I was placing the stones on the pattern that I had put down, all of these things were done as a surrender to the Kundalini, through the surrender to my teacher. And so the whole process, it expanded into areas that I couldn't possibly have known about when I began. There was amazing lessons in it for me. But it was one of the most blatant ones in terms of my ego response. So anyway, cut all that aside unless you want to make a comment on it. I have a flower of life in the front of my house in that big 3/4 of an acre, and that has become part of the instructions that this very cool teacher gives for me to do. So I leave my very warm house with the blazing fire unclothed. I say goodbye to my husband, who after all these years...
In the rain, the ice rain, no doubt, right?
No doubt. And the wind, you have no idea of the wind that we get down in Kerry. And the rain doesn't fall down vertically, the rain is horizontal. It comes horizontally. So, yeah. But we also have amazing starlights and full moons and all of that.
So what you're saying is you're naked as a jaybird.
Yep.
And you're going out in the middle of the night in a rainstorm with wind forcing the rain to go horizontal. What on earth were you thinking of? I mean, geez Louise, a tree could fall on you. A grass blade could hit your ankle or something. I mean, come on, this is dangerous stuff. What were you thinking?
Well, it's not really dangerous. I mean, to begin with, I'll get to the dangerous bit in a minute. The grass is quite flat. And the interesting thing is that over the years, because of other things that this very cool teacher has put me through, my senses, I mean, seriously, I don't talk about this much, but I don't ever turn the torch on at this point. I go in the complete dark down to the flower of life. I mean, you cannot see in front of you, yet I know exactly where I'm going. I never hurt myself. I walk on the grass and I go down to the flower of life. And what I'm instructed in the wind and the rain. And, okay, initially, when I go out, I feel the cold. It's not that I don't feel the cold. Come on, when it's at freezing point, you feel the cold. My feet touch the grass. I can feel the icy crystals on the grass and the crunch or the wet or whatever. And so it's not that I can't feel it. A very short time, because I am surrendered. I mean, I don't know why, but I am surrendered to carrying out this task. And the surrender is to my teacher, but it is to the Kundalini, because the Kundalini is the center of this task. Everything that I do in surrender to my teacher is in surrender to my Kundalini, and the Kundalini always responds to these tasks and to these personal instructions.
You're saying that the Kundalini is requiring you to get naked and go out there in the middle of the night in a rainstorm, windstorm, walk without shoes, without a flashlight, out into this stone thing that he's made you, forced you to build, and geez Louise, what do you guys do out there? I don't want to know. Well, is it suitable for the entire family to hear?
But you are right, though. I mean, joking aside, it is a requirement of the Kundalini. And so the very first thing that occurs is almost by the time I get to the flower of life, the cold is no longer bothering me at all. I'm aware that there's coldness, because from the moment that I begin this journey down to the flower of life, I'm in this place of mantra, devotion, surrender, whatever words you want to use for it. And by the time I reach that and begin the practice down there, I'm not feeling the cold anymore. The rain on my skin has taken on a different quality. Everything changes, because when I remove the clothing, and other people who do this in terms of, say, if they're doing a practice with the 5 Tibetans, a lot of people do the 5 Tibetans unclothed. When we remove our clothing, it's amazing how we remove so much with that. We become, exposed and vulnerable, and our true selves, really. There's so many things that occur. And so when I arrive down to the flower of life, everything that's happening is completely within the grace of the Kundalini, and sensory and everything changes. Everything changes. And that's what I mean when I talk about the Kundalini being very much part of it, very much part of what happens. So anyway, will I share what I do?
Sure.
Because I do various things, but let's say the other night, for example, I can just speak of that, because there would be different things that I have done over time. So the other night, what this teacher asked me to do was I was to say my mantra and walk in a clockwise direction 9 times around the flower of life, saying my mantra. And when I had that done, I would then walk in the opposite direction 9 times. And so
what happens if you trip? What happens if you trip and fall on your face? What happens then? Does that teacher come out and rescue you?
Well, I haven't done that. I have stumbled now, mind you, once or twice, just last week. But no, he does not. But this is what I'm trying to say. I never do. I see without my eyes. I can walk around that flower of light in the pitch black. There was no moon the other day. There were stars. In actual fact, that particular night that I went out to begin with, there was a lull in the storm. I went out, I think that was around 11 or half past. I went out and expecting the rain, and there was nothing. There was no clouds. There was millions of stars, no moon. It was pitch black. And so I walked around the flower of life, and I can see. I can't explain it, Chrism. I can see, in a sensory way. I don't have any stones.
Easy enough to see, walking around with a torch in your hand. I mean, how hard is that?
I don't have a torch.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there's no torch. I bring it with me because I need to use it later, but not at that point.
I see.
So I walk around, and then there's various things that occur there that have been occurring for a long time. There's a lot of phenomena that I see. I see it peripherally, and I also see it directly in front of me. I see orbs. I see flashing lights. I see things
fairies?
in the sky.
Do you see fairies? Do you see any fairies?
No, not wings and little not like that. But I do see tiny little tiny lights.
Getting the Prozac injection ready. Go ahead.
I do see tiny little lights. I've never talked about this before, really. The actual field changes, and I'm given to see things in the field that I don't typically see as I'm walking around the circle, obviously losing it. No, I pay no attention to them in the sense that I'm not going, oh, look at that, or oh, look at that. They are just there, and they're going on as I'm saying my mantra and as I'm focused on my Kundalini and doing the task that I'm doing. And I'm getting at this stage very, very hot. I mean, seriously hot. It's amazing.
You mean temperature-wise, right?
Temperature-wise, yeah, absolutely. And then when I have the 9 done, I go the other way. Now, this is something that my teacher has only began to ask me to do recently. Up until recently, I used to not walk anti-clockwise. And that is something that's new for me, and it is something that is very different. Walking anti-clockwise, I do stumble. Because when I began to walk in an anti-clockwise direction, if you can imagine that I can see the energy that's been going in a clockwise direction, I can actually, it's like a stream under my feet, and I can feel myself walking against it. It's very disorientating, and I stumble, and I have to say, I have, hurt my feet against those rocks.
Well, there you go. This horrific person that you're calling a teacher has caused you injury. Doesn't he know about?
Well, no. No. it hurts for 2 seconds, just 2 seconds. I mean, it doesn't. It's just a fact that I bang my foot on the stone, which never happens, but it is happening when I'm going in an anti-clockwise direction. But let's say after maybe 3 rounds, and the flow begins, the energy begins to go in that direction. And you see, as well as that, the devotion that I'm also giving to the Kundalini, the connection with the nature and with, you know, the earth and the sky and all the elements. It's very difficult to put words on how that becomes fluidic in me. It's like,
well,
you know...
It's not so difficult to me if you're doing it in the middle of a rainstorm to have it get fluidic really quick.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. So this I'm not quite sure how to even call this person something human. This what you're calling a teacher has you go out here and do this, and has you do it 9 times one way and then 9 times another way, and you're getting all this different phenomena. What does he ever give you a reason why he does this, or is he just sending you out just for the jolly of it?
It's very interesting when I'm given an instruction by this, you know, let's call him cruel teacher. I don't ask why. No, I just do it, and as I begin to, because I trust him. Because I have learned through all the times, from that very first time of making and creating the flower of life, and what I learned there, everything that I have done has been a sequential learning and trust-building thing. So that it's amazing how in the action or in the carrying out of the instruction, what I learn about what it is and why I am doing something, not cognitively, experientially, and connected with my Kundalini. And I don't process it while it's happening. I'm doing it. And so, no, he doesn't tend to say, no, the reason you're to do this 9 times or whatever, I'm aware that 9 times is a sacred number. It's a completion number. I'm aware of, you know, male, female, clockwise, anti-clockwise, but I don't have a cognitive, the reason I'm doing this now is because. Now, my teacher obviously knows.
Does he make all his students do this type of stuff?
I have no idea. I don't question him. But I think so. No, I have no idea.
They live in a city. I mean, do they have to like walk naked in their backyard in the middle of Los Angeles or London? And you know,
no.
I mean, God, what an idiot.
No, because the first thing is, I've also lived in the city. Kundalini directed me 4 years ago to go and live in the country. Before that, I was never, you know, I wasn't given instructions that would in any way put me at risk. Now, there's a little bit of risk involved because I have a neighbour. I mean, the other day, I was just finishing the...
Does he have a pair of binoculars?
I don't know, lucky guy, if he has.
I swear, this teacher sounds kind of, you know, nutty to me. I don't know. That's just me, though.
Well, no. Well, let me say, I have no hesitation in saying he possibly is, but in terms of... It's amazing. I would recommend it to everybody. I know that people would like to do this, believe it or not, but they're not in a position because they don't have... I'm very blessed that I'm... somebody wrote recently, because I shared a tiny bit of it, that they would love to be able to do it, but they just don't have that safe environment that I'm blessed to have. So I can just assume that my teacher... doesn't give this kind of thing to everybody, but I have no doubt he gives other things to do.
Well, so how does this?
He is cruel.
How does this? First of all, if anybody wants to call in and comment on Santara's strange behavior to this cruel, we'll have to call him Cruelananda teacher. Call in at 347-934-0026. This is Kundalini Conversations with Chrism, broadcast live from California, and you're listening to Santara Kundalini describe her practice and I guess what this teacher that she adheres to gave her to do over the weekend after midnight in the middle of a freezing rain with freezing wind, walking around a pile of rocks to the right and a pile of rocks to the left. Did I say naked?
You did.
N-E-K-I-D. So
totally.
So
totally.
what did the forest have to do
As
with
a matter of fact, say again, sorry?
What did the forest have to do with any of this? Was it just, I mean, what was it doing there?
Okay, well, so when I have that is the introduction bit, and it prepares me, before I go to the forest, it's phase one. So when I have that completed, I then pick up my torch. I do not turn it on though, and I pick up my shoes, which I haven't been wearing, or flip-flops actually, and I walk down a little bit further, and I come to an area that brings me into the forest. I then put on my shoes, and I turn on the light. It's a very dull light on the torch, and I climb. There's a wall that I have to climb over before I get into the forest, the woods. Now these woods are, I suppose you would call them, they're mostly pine trees that have been planted as a harvest. They were planted maybe 20, 25 years ago, so they're very, very tall. In the middle of them are the old indigenous trees that lived and have been there for a long, long time. And in the center of this wood is a bog. And that bog, of course, is very, very ancient. And there are no trees.
Can you explain to somebody what a bog is?
Sure. A bog is a place of, it's peat, first of all. The soil is peat. It's marshy. It's quite dangerous in inverted commas in that there are bog holes and mud, and you could do damage in some areas. In the country, in Ireland, the bog is a place where they used to cut turf, and turf being peat briquettes. Do you have those in America?
Peat?
Do you have bogs in America?
You mean people named Pete? What are you talking about?
Okay. The bogs are actually cut into, and the soil, the topsoil, let's call it, is removed. It's very, very thick, and it can be burned as fuel. And that has been done, that's part of what a bog was used for in Ireland.
Did they do this to this bog?
Yes, this would have been done to this bog down through the generations. This was the only fuel that the people going way back into the 19th and 18th century had. The house that I live in, it was built in 1876. And this was how they heated. This was how they heated the house.
Wasn't that right after the famine? The Irish famine?
Yeah, the famine was 1845, wasn't it? Yeah, 1845. And this was 1876. Yeah, not long after that. Yeah. So the bog is very, very ancient. The bog is a place where, all those, they have had some preserved bodies and bones found there. We'll say the Ardat chalice was found in the bog. There would be qualities in the bog that would preserve things very well. So there have been many treasures, Irish ancient artifacts found in bogs. So the bog is slightly. They weren't allowed to.
Can you die in the bog?
Yeah, you absolutely. Now, you must understand that in American terms, this is a very small area. We're talking maybe 30 acres. We're not talking, it's not huge. The farm that they had back in 1876 was maybe 60 acres all in all. So it's not very big.
What's that got to do with whether or not you can die in the bog?
Well, I'm trying to say...
Does the bog have a beach? Is there a beach on the bog? Is there a bog beach?
No, but you could just go, help, and you'd probably be heard, is what I'm trying to say. It's not like a million acres.
Is it like quicksand?
They're bog holes. There are bog holes. So a bog hole would be a very deep hole filled with mud and muck. And you can get quite stuck in them. I wouldn't say it's quicksand, and I don't really, nobody has ever really died in a bog. So let's pass on that.
Okay. So how come he has you go into a bog? I mean, what's up with this guy?
Well, he doesn't really have me go into the bog because what happened, he knows this. What has actually happened was when they decided to plant this harvest or this potential harvest of trees on the land, they were not allowed to plant it on the bog because the bog is considered to be, I suppose you could call it sacred. You're not allowed to plant on the bog. So all around the bog is trees, but the bog itself has no trees. And of course, brambles and all, it's very difficult to actually get into the bog now. And it has gone completely wild. And it's just amazing. It's an amazing place. So it's difficult to get into. I don't go into the actual bog itself, the main part of the bog, during my instructions. There are areas in the forestry, though, that are very boggy. And I go quite near the bog, but not into the actual bog.
Okay, so why does he want you going around a bog? I can say there's a few reasons that he has me go into the woods and into the bog. The bog is very ancient. It's very primal. It's very Kundalini, if I can say that. It's a Kundalini bog.
Well, it's a Kundalini. There are Kundalini woods, actually, even though they have been very newly planted. They are Kundalini woods by virtue of the fact that the ground is ancient and that the bog is there. There is an energy that comes from the bog.
Is there like a spring in the bog? How's the bog? Does it stay wet?
No, part of the bog would be dry and part of it would be wet, Chrism. It's because it's peat, it can become very soggy and then it can just dry out as well. There's no streams in it, but there are trenches of like little rivers in it. And that's the way it is throughout the woods as well, So there's a particular areas that are very muddy and wet. But the whole ground is...
So you put your shoes on, you turn your flashlight on, your NEKID, and you head on into the forest. You're hanging out by a bog. What else is going on?
Well, there would be very different instructions given. So will I share the particular instructions of this particular weekend?
Can you? Is it is it clean?
I was enjoying you floundering there. I was wondering what you were going to do. Of course. No, it's not clean. It's very dirty. That's the whole point. Okay, joking aside, the instruction that I was given this time was I was to go into the woods. And I was to find a part of in the woods near to the bog that was muddy. And when I came to this place, I was to put the mud all over my body and paint it on thickly, every single bit onto my body. During this, I was also saying mantra. I was doing, I don't want to get too into the details of it, but that was just say, if you were to look at me if my neighbour was to arrive with his binoculars, he would see me paint, placing mud all over my body.
I think you'd be the new bog monster.
Yes.
I think he'd
the
be
interesting
running for the
thing
shotgun.
Yeah, I know. The interesting thing was, at this particular point at the weekend, it was very, very silent. When I'm in there sometimes during the storm, it's wild, it's windy, the trees are moving. This particular time, it wasn't so much like that because there was a lull in the storm. So I went in, and it's very, very dark. My torch has got this kind of blue light, so it's not very bright. I just see a little bit ahead of me. And remember that I've come from the flower of life. I'm in this, let's call it a zone, a Kundalini place. And as I go into the woods, I don't really know where I'm going to go. I just go. And I came to this part, and the minute my foot touched it, I realized, oh yes, this is a wet area, and I knew this was the place. I just knew this was the place. So once I found the place, I turn off the torch, and I take off my shoes. Because again, the light isn't part of. The reason I use the light is because there's a lot of brambles and holes, and the first thing is I'm not to damage myself. But once I've looked around and I know the area, I turn off my light and I'm back in the pitch black, and I'm totally, again, in nature. So I began to do that. I painted myself in the mud. Now, this is peat. It is an amazing mud.
Did you put it in your hair? Did you put it on your face, in your ears? I mean, everywhere? Everywhere. Oh,
everywhere. And
my God.
I know. I mean, yeah, you'll have to call for those men actually in the coats, because as I was putting it on, it became extremely I'm going to sound
damp.
I'm actually now pulling back here because I'm not. It was
what did he have? Did he have you?
Pleasurable in the sense, yeah.
Did he have you lay down in the bog? I mean, what did he have you do? What was the purpose of going there? I mean, you can go out, you can roll around the mud anywhere. Why did he want you rolling around there? What was the purpose of that?
Why did he want me to roll around in the bog? I was connecting in with, there are lots of reasons, but part of it is I'm connecting in with the earth. I'm connecting in with the Kundalini. I am becoming as one with the,
So what you're saying is that in order to get connected to the Kundalini, someone just has to strip off their clothes and go roll around in the mud?
Yeah.
WTF? What the heck is that?
Oh my God! Can we now terminate this interview?
How does anybody go to this guy's seminars? Well, it's just take off your clothes, roll around in the mud. Have a nice day.
Oh my God! It's amazing. I think it should be obligatory for everybody.
Are people listening to this? Are people listening to this on the chat room? What are they saying on the chat room around this? I can't see the chat room. Are they just taking this?
No, they're not saying anything. They're probably used to me by now. They're probably bored.
Stunned. They're just stunned. Oh my God.
Well, no, they're not saying anything at all if they're there. No, everybody's quiet. But it is. I'm just thinking.
They're probably not. With BlogTalk, they're probably not hearing any of this. They're just going, where'd they all go?
Oh my gosh, I hope we're online. So anyway, yeah. So this guy,
this guy has you going naked into the forest. You're rolling around in the mud for whatever reason. Oh, I'm sorry. You're connecting into the Kundalini by rolling around in the mud. And what else? Is there anything other than that? I mean, what did you have to, like, eat a biscuit and say, hallowed be thy name? I mean, what else did he have you do?
No, I did not, and I can't talk now anymore. I'm done.
Were there drugs involved? Did you have alcohol? I mean, what? you finished, and I see it as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kundalini Conversation with Chrism. This is a Blog Talk radio program. We are rated G. The guest call-in number would be 347-934-0026. We are listening to Her Holiness, Santara Kundalini, describe one of the practices that her teacher prescribes for her to do in Ireland in the middle of the night during extreme weather conditions. With naked.
Well, I lay down then.
You lay down. Go ahead.
I lay down then on my back. I was looking up at the sky. I mean, you have to understand, listeners, that I have already been through, okay, you have to understand that when I do this, I am no longer in a place of, this is quite normal. Just realizing how normal this is.
Are you high? Are you stoned? I mean, are you drunk? What's going on?
I am actually very high, because the whole process has become communion with my Kundalini, with nature. I'm so aware of male, female, of the femininity and creation of the earth. The trees above me, the stars that at that particular point were sparkling in the sky, and it was like the cosmos and myself. I really was. I felt like I was smoking weed.
I want to clear something up real quick here, just in case, because I know other people may be thinking it. You weren't smoking the bog, were you? Were you smoking the bog?
No. Isn't it amazing? I wasn't smoking the bog.
Were you taking bog hits?
No. But you know what's amazing in terms of the Kundalini? I mean, seriously, people do ayahuasca and people do whatever they do to get high. And honest to God, there is, with the Kundalini and with this practice, there's no need. You get high just on, it's amazing, Chrism. It is amazing. So, just forget about your weed, forget about all these things. There's no need for them at all. But I had an amazing...
So wait a minute. So wait.
Dignity,
now,
let's call it.
Wait. Okay. Now you're laying down, covered in mud from head to toe. You're laying down there. You're looking at the sparkling stars, and what then?
Well, nobody would know I was there because I'm like the mud, and so there's no part of me that isn't covered. And there's a merging that happens with me, a unity with earth, stars, sky, my Kundalini, the divine male, the divine female, bliss. It's...
So what you're saying is you could have just hopped in the bog and done the same thing, right?
No.
I'm just checking. I'm trying to get a visual here. So this teacher has you laying down, being at one with the mud by being covered in the mud on a rainy night in the middle of the night.
No. He doesn't have me do this. You can't say it's not that he has. Now go down there and be one with the bog. It's not. He doesn't say that. He instructs me what to do. Go to the bog. Go and put the bog on my body.
This sounds a little bit like a willing human sacrifice to the gods of the Kundalini. Is that what this is?
That mightn't be far from the truth. Because there are so many things going on with me in this process. I'm all the time saying it's not a linear experience. I mean, I could talk about it from the physical. I walked down to the bog. I lay upon the ground. I painted on, and that is what I factually did. My emotional body, my spiritual body, the part of me that is beyond my body, the part of me that is in, that has no boundaries. I experienced in those situations, in that time. I was in the sky, I was in the earth. I wasn't just on the earth, I was in the earth. So those aspects, I meet myself there. I am totally given to the Kundalini in all the aspects of the Kundalini, in me, above me, beyond me, with me, all of that. And there are no words for that,
This is like a kind of like a human sacrifice to the Kundalini, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. I just wanted to kind of like squeeze that out of you. Now, so as you're laying there in the mud, at one with the mud, a part of the mud, and you're having this,
and
you're kind of being digested by the bog. I'm not. No. I'm not being digested by the bog. You're bog walking, right?
Well, yeah, go on. I won't interrupt you. Go on.
Let me finish it. So this sounds a lot like one of those Tibetan chode ceremonies. Is it like that?
It could be said to be like that, yes. Yes.
Well, what does that do? What is it? What does it? Explain to the listeners what a chode thing does.
Yeah, a chode thing. You see, you've had me do that before as well in a different way. A chode is where.
I'm sorry, what was that? Who would have you do that?
Nothing. Sorry,
a teacher?
No, this awful
teacher.
Had you do
yes,
that? Not, yes. Whoops. I have to have a drink. What was I saying? What's a chode? Yeah, a chode, my experience of a chode is going out into the woods. And this is part of what was going on the other night as well, another aspect of it. Not another aspect, because nothing is separate. Everything is one, So I'm in the woods, and you're saying about the sacrifice. Yes, I am offering myself, and I am open to whatever with the Kundalini. It creates a fearlessness within me that I did not have when I would have performed a chode that you gave me to do some 2 years ago or so, where I went out and physically did a chode. You instructed me very sequentially what to do. I was to go to the woods. I was to lay out in a particular position.
Now you're all of a sudden making me your teacher. What's going on here? This cruel, inhospitable teacher. What's going on?
I apologize. As though you would be anything like that.
God. I am the kind of teacher I am. Because, I'm eternally optimistic. I just, it's all sugar plum fairies and little dancing elves with me, and it's cotton candy and teddy bears and Raggedy Anns, and it's just really happy. dancing folk. I don't know what you're talking about.
That was absolutely unforgivable. Apologize to the viewers or the listeners. This cruel teacher that called. So, you see, the sequential aspect of that for me, like when I did that first, I had to face all my fears of being alone in the dark, dark woods, you know, all the noises that go on. I mean, the other night there was this incredible loud noise that occurred near me, and I didn't bat an eyelid. Had that happened 2 years ago, my heart would have been pounding. I would have had to deal with, you know, the panic of wanting to run and the fear. Whereas
They still have wolves in Ireland, don't they?
No, they don't. They don't. But we don't really have anything major like that. There is a deer, a wild deer in our wood.
Oh my God.
And that's about as fierce as it gets. I mean, in terms of physical animals, there are entities in the woods.
What do they do with you as you're lying there in the mud?
Well, they haven't done anything with me, but they have come and observed. And not this time, funnily enough, and they were quite a distance away.
Because you're so muddy, they're kind of going, "What's up with this one?"
Well, I bet you, I was invisible. They couldn't see me. So
you're doing a chode. I guess the chode, you're kind of like your arms and legs are each direction, and you're offering yourself up to the bog gods, right? The gods of the bog.
Well, okay, not quite, but yes. No. Yes, okay, not really. Yes.
Is John, your husband, listening to this program? Oh my God, is he there?
He's downstairs. He's probably not listening to this. But you see, you've got to understand over the years, listeners, my husband is quite aware of this. And I was saying there recently to this particular teacher that my husband will never be a private student of this teacher. He says to me, "You're going out in this weather?" And I go, "Yeah." He said, "Oh my God." I mean, seriously. And then he opens the door and he goes, "Oh my God, you're nuts." So he's very aware of what I do, because I leave the house now with no clothes. There was a time when I would, go out and then I would derobe outside, and I would then gather all the wet clothes up and bring them home. So I just go, to hell with that. I just leave the house with no clothes. So Jay is very aware of all the insane things that I do with regard to
I guess
carrying out
it's something to talk about at the local pub, I guess.
I can assure you, he says nothing. About that at all whatsoever. But when I was finished, can I move it on?
Please.
Okay. When that was finished, and I'm going to use the word merging and union and bliss happened after a little while, because I lose track of time. It's done. And I got, I'm to go now. I would have happily stayed there all night. I mean, I would have just laid down in that mud and stayed there all night. It was so deliciously, divinely, just wonderful. But I got from the Kundalini, okay, go. And I kind of went, okay. I got up and I left the woods. I put on my shoes, turned on the torch, headed off again and back out into the field. And as I reached the field, as I was coming towards the field, the lull was over and it started to lash raining. And the interesting thing was, this cruel teacher had said to me, because obviously I'd have a shower afterwards, when with the mud and everything. This cruel teacher had said to me, when you come out of the woods. Don't, kind of wipe off all the mud. Allow the rain to take the mud off you as you go back to the house. Perfect timing. I'm directed to leave the woods, even though I didn't want to at that particular time. And as I reach the field, it starts to rain. And as I'm walking up the field, torrential rain, absolutely torrential rain. And so, of course, that creates, that's an amazing experience as well, to be like that in nature.
Were you clean by the time you got to the house?
No, because this particular mud, it's difficult. It's peat, so it's no. I had to also wipe it off.
Do you still have mud on you?
No, I do not, but I have some more things that I would like to share.
Please.
So that was on the Saturday, was it, or the Friday? I forget now. The Friday night. And on the Sunday morning, I skipped Saturday. On the Sunday morning, I woke up out of my sleep, and the very first thought I had, and this is a Kundalini thought, the very first thought I had was, go to the woods, collect some mud, and bring it back to Cork. Now, obviously, it's not a voice. That's just an instant message thought from my Kundalini. That's what I'm to do. So I had to do a few little bits and pieces, and then as soon as I could, I knew I had to gather it in some kind of a natural container, so I found this lovely piece of crockery. And just as I was going to leave the house, I also was given that I was to bring an extra bit of this mud, and I'm to use it for my son's acne. So this is an absolute direct instruction as well, which of course makes me laugh, because I'm thinking, oh my God, imagine I'm going to have to tell my son this. He's not going to go, oh, you just want to plaster some mud on my face, Mum? Okay. So I'm going to have to tell him this, but he's kind of used to some strange things like that happening. So I take the 2 containers and I go down into the woods. And I fill, again, I'm clothed at this time because it's during the day and it's just before we go back to Cork. So I leave my clothes on me, I go into the woods, and it's broad daylight, and I go to the very same place that I was in. And the whole way down, though, this is a ceremony for me as well, and it's been directed by my Kundalini, and I'm following my Kundalini's instructions, and so it's very sacred to me. And so again, I'm saying my mantra, and the whole thing becomes a devotion and a meditation every step into this place where I had let's call it the chode the night before, or 2 nights before. I gather it all up, and all around the area are lots of pine cones on the ground, and I get this notion, I'm going to just bring a pine cone as well, and I bend down and I pick up a pine cone to put on top of the mud, and as I was doing that, Kundalini but I'm instructed, no pine cone, just the mud. So I put the pine cone down on the ground, and there, right next to my hand, underneath some branches, I see on the ground a pair of glasses. And these are my glasses that were given to me by Chrism when he was here last year, actually almost a year ago, when he had the seminar in Ireland. And what had happened last January when I had been in Kerry last was, I love these glasses because they've been given to me by Chrism, and I was very, very mindful of them. And we were heading back to Cork, and I had placed these glasses into my pocket because I was going to be reading in the car. And everybody got into the car, and I had said to them, I'm going down into the forestry, give me 10 minutes and I'll be back. So I went down to the forestry with the glasses in my pocket and said goodbye to the woods, and I came back out, got into the car and drove to Cork. And then as we were in the car, I realised the glasses were gone, and I discovered a hole in my pocket that had not been there. I knew I had lost the glasses somewhere between the house, the field and the woods, and I knew there was absolutely no point in me even going to look for them ever again. They were gone. But I also knew that I also knew at the time it was Kundalini because I had been very mindful of it, and Kundalini had taken things like that from me before, so I got over my attachment to the glasses very quickly and I let it go. So the other night, there I was, or the other day, and there on the grass or under the branches were those very glasses that a month and a half ago had vanished in the exact place where I had been directed to do the chode by my teacher. So that's where the glasses were, randomly, in inverted commas, not lost a month and a half ago. And to me, that was incredibly significant because it was, I've often said that my teacher and my Kundalini are like one to me, the two that are one. Anything that my teacher has ever given me to do has never, ever been something that my Kundalini has not wanted me to do. So my teacher and my Kundalini are like the two that are one. I had my teacher's glasses, which are Shakti-pated glasses for me and have been very precious to me. They were taken, I lost them in the woods, and the very place that I found them was where the Kundalini had directed me to do the chode in the dark the night before, or 2 nights before. And so, again, it was a gorgeous communication from my Kundalini to me around, following the instructions of my teacher, about following the instructions of my Kundalini. It was an affirmation. It was just wonderful. It was just amazing. So I just wanted to share that.
What? Sorry. That's the message broken.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, no worries at all.
Wow.
But that was so cool. I mean, I was so, I was kind of going, oh, wow, Kundalini, that was so cool. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it.
It sounds like you've had a very, very interesting weekend, my dear. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. It sounds like this Chrism teacher is...
No, I never said that was his name. I never said...
Well, you kind of did a few times, but...
Did I?
Sounds like he's challenging in a number of ways, which I won't say is a bad thing. I think Kundalini offers us many challenges, and many of these challenges are otherworldly challenges. These are challenges that not everybody in your urban environments are going to face. I think it's very fortunate that you and Jay have that forest behind you, that you have that piece of property down there, that you can actually, disrobe and go out to a Flower of Life monument and then go into a forest and do these types of practices. I think you might want to take a little easy on the bog hitting, but chodes are always good. Chodes are they're a way to surrender the attachments that the ego has to the body about, shall we say, being blended into the environment. So it sounds like you had a really, really good weekend, and blessings to you, Santara, for sharing it with us.
And can I just say one or two things as well now, Chrism, if I may, just around, instructions from the teacher, because I have no idea how that is for other people. But this teacher would also have given me things to do beforehand, before I had this place. I would have done things on the beach. I would have done other things. And it's very important not important, but the learning has been that initially things can be very, very challenging, just like they can be with the Kundalini. But when you just trust and go into them, what's actually revealed in terms of the lessons and what's actually revealed is incredible. And so I would say to anybody, if anybody is listening and they are in the early stages of having a very cruel and kind and teacher, from somebody who has had this teacher for many, many years, it is a blessing to be asked to do, things that are outside of the norm, that
I'm surprised your teacher, was asking you. I mean, were you like tiptoeing through the forest? Were you doing your best not to make any noise at all?
No, the opposite. You see, no, the opposite. Initially, for some time, I probably was, but recently, my teacher has instructed me to be quite loud and noisy. We have a caller. Will I go check who it is?
Sure, go ahead.
Let me go check who it is, and I'll come back in a moment.
All right. Well, everybody, I mean, so yeah, not everybody has a bog in their backyard. Not everybody has a forest in their backyard, but in all seriousness, I think it can be an extremely healthy practice to get in touch with the primal roots and the primal feelings and the primal experiences that can take place in the privacy of the nighttime, in the privacy of a forest, without being observed or seen or challenged by the modern day forces of shall we say, of being seen or being visual in any way. Yeah, she's going out there without, the only technological thing she has with her, I guess, would be the flashlight. I mean, no phone, no iPad, no nothing. I mean, you're with the Kundalini, you don't need electrical instrumentation in order to do this work. All you need is the physical body. You don't need clothing, you don't need a watch, you don't need rings or jewelry or any kind of personal adornment. All you need is the physical body and the willingness to listen to a teacher that's going to have you do things that are extremely outside the norm. It makes a big difference to be open to these areas of exploration, especially if you never have been. Children would love to do these types of things, though. Think of that. Think of yourself as that child. Would this be something that you could embrace? Would this be something that you could do? I think it's not abnormal for people to want to come back into an evolutionary bonding with the natural environment. Covering yourself with mud is not an uncommon thing in other cultures of other than the West. It's done quite often in Africa. It's done quite often in Australia. It's done quite often in India, where you see these sadhu guys going out and putting ash and mud all over their bodies. This is not unusual. This is not unusual for Kundalini work to be done in this way. What is unusual is that it's taking place in Ireland. What is unusual is that a teacher is actually giving persons instructions to do this. This is what makes it unusual. It's not that it's not inhospitable. It's just very, very, very different than what a normal, shall we say, meditation or yoga-based practice would be. Kundalini is not strictly a meditation or yoga-based practice. It is a far-reaching practice with multiples upon multiples of different points of experience and expression and behaviors and surrenders. This isn't about just, being in your sterile little yoga studio with your cute little yoga pants on and your cute little yoga outfit and you're going, and the teacher's going, okay, everybody, now let's do breath of fire at the end. Oh, very good, everyone. No, it's not like that at all. It's gutsy, it's risky. It's learning how to connect primal aspect of yourself by connecting with the primal environment around you. It's not ice skating with Disneyland. Not to say that's safe, because you can still fall on the ice. It's about doing things that are very, very, very beyond what your normal behaviorisms would be and surrendering to those behaviors. The thing is the Kundalini is going to give you experiences that are unknown, is going to give you experiences that you're not familiar with, is going to give you experiences that are challenging, to say the least. We've talked on this program many times about, entities and how people have to deal with these entities and all of these types of things. We've had to talk about this because the Kundalini brings this upon us. It brings this into our awareness, into our experience. And I know that there's a lot more to tell, from Centaur Kundalini's experience. But, I think there are some things that she's just going to have to keep private about that, because not everything is acceptable, to be talked about with regards to sacred, spiritual practices. Remember that when you go to a seminar, if you're going to something that we're going to be doing, remember that not everything needs to be discussed. Let there be something that is just for you, just held by you, just for you, that you don't tell anybody else. And these would typically be the conversations that your Kundalini has with you. Now, I know Centaur has had many, many more experiences with the Kundalini that she doesn't tell than with those that she does tell, and that's fine. That is exactly what I'm talking about. She keeps it private, she keeps it personal for the most part, but there are some things she's allowed to share. And I would like you to listen to her and her words and her experiences in all seriousness, because she really did this, and she does it all the time. Every time this mean, vicious, terrible teacher, whose name is Chrism, who I am, every time she goes down there, I'm looking at the weather report for Carrie. And frankly, I'm not interested if she's going down there if it's nice weather. I want it to be stormy. And guess what? I usually get my way with that. And so I want to congratulate you, Centaur Kundalini, for going down there, for following my instructions, for having the phenomena that you experienced, for seeing the entities, for covering yourself in the bog mud, the peat mud, for going out there and having the wind and rain come up at just the right moment to give you a beautiful shower, showering it off, and walking right back in front of your neighbor's house, the dairy, where everybody's up at 3 a.m.
During calving season.
I could just hear your neighbors going, "Is she out there yet?" No. Well, yep, there she is, right there. You can see her out there. No, I think that you deserve to be congratulated for this. Now, if anybody has a question about this type of a practice or any other aspect of their Kundalini awakening experience, I'd like to offer you the phone number, which is 347-934-0026. 347-934-0026. And you're going to say something, Centaura?
Well, there is one comment from Diva in the chat room. She has a smiley face and she says, "Love it." Other than that, no comments.
Yeah, I wonder. Let's try something here. Hello, Rosemary, Your Holiness. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, Rosemary. How are you?
I'm fine.
Rosemary, if I told you to take off your clothes in the middle of an ice storm, walk naked around a pile of rocks backwards and forwards, then go out into a forest, cover yourself up for mud, and wait for the Kundalini to tell you to go back, would you do that?
I would.
Why?
I would, first of all, because I trust you, and I'm committed to receiving your guidance, particularly because I, myself, an ego mind, wouldn't even have a clue of what would be helpful for this awakening and this beauty of this whole process. And you would know, but I wouldn't.
And what do they call that? What? I mean, if I told you to jump off a cliff, would you do that?
I guess that's a rhetorical question almost. I would trust that you would intervene with my being harmed.
Well, that's true enough. Now, thank you, my dear. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to put you into the blue here. And let's go to Josephine. Hello, Your Holiness. Josephine listening. How are you?
Hello there. Hi.
Now, Josephine, if I told you to take off all your clothes, walk around a pile of rocks to the left and then do it to the right, and then go into a forest and go find a nice muddy spot, wallow around in the mud for a little bit, make sure you cake as much mud on your body as possible, and then lay there in the mud until the Kundalini told you to go home, would you do it? And if so, why?
That is really difficult. But hopefully it's where I know, in a mountain. But I don't think you would ever have me do something that would ever be detrimental to my life, myself, or my Kundalini.
So, what's your answer? Would you do it or wouldn't you?
Yes, I would, but I believe you would not have it be something where I would get charged with public indecency somewhere down the line.
Well, that's true enough. I mean, it's no fun if you get arrested for it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So thank you, Josephine. So here we have it, folks. What it all comes down to is trust. It all comes down to trust. I mean, here's the thing. You know, Santara Kundalini is being asked to put, you know, her money where her mouth is. She's being asked to do instead of just agree to do. She's being asked to demonstrate viscerally rather than just just in a way where she doesn't have to demonstrate it. She's being asked to demonstrate it. What about you, listener? What about you? What about your Kundalini asking you to do something way outside of the normal, like, oh, maybe have Kriyas that kind of twist your body into a certain way, this way or that way? What about you, dear listener, dear Kundalini awakening listener, dear Kundalini activated listener? What if the Kundalini asks you to view an entity? Is it real or is it unreal? Are you going to kick and scream and cry and run away from the experience, or are you going to embrace the experience? Are you going to have it and hold it near and dear to your heart? Are you going to take it as a teaching from the divine? Or are you going to take it as a fearful thing to avoid? Would your Kundalini do anything to really, really harm you without your help, i.e. without your ego? So if your ego gets involved and the Kundalini says, yeah, I want you to worship God naked in the forest, well, the ego gets involved and decides, oh, well, maybe a little alcohol will help with that. Boom. You know, you're arrested. I'll do that little pot, you know, good for that. Boom. You're arrested. Oh, I'll do that little meth is good for that. Boom. You're arrested. And so, you know, if you can do it, do you think you can do it without the ego? And if you take the ego out of the equation, isn't it so much better? Santara is walking the walk, and she's talking the talk, and she has every right to talk that talk because she's actually doing it. Now, when the pressure's on for you, my dear listener, when the pressure's on for you, and you're being asked to do something way outside of your expectation or your experience reference points, are you going to avoid it? Are you going to run away? Are you going to say, no, thank you very much? Or are you going to visit that area of your life? Are you going to visit that area that the Kundalini is directing you to? Think about that, dear listener. Think about that. It's one thing to say, oh, I trust the Kundalini. I trust the Kundalini. You say that till the cows come home. I trust the Kundalini. But when the screw starts getting turned into your experiences with the Kundalini, when you start having to actually push the ego aside in strong circumstances, well, do you buckle? Do you fall? Do you fall right back into the fears that the ego is feeding you? Or do you stand strong? Do you stand strong with the trust of your teacher, the trust of your Kundalini, the trust of God, however you see God to be? Do you stand strong in the face of adversity? And the adversity is something that only your ego would consider adverse. It's not something that your Kundalini would consider adverse. Kundalini is not going to suggest you do something that's going to hurt you. Entities will. Entities will grab right onto your ego attachments to fear and accelerate those fears, amplify those fears. Your Kundalini is not going to do that for you, but it's going to be different. It's going to push you into areas of anxiety and facing certain areas of fear. That's going to make you, really question who you are, how you are, what you are, why you are. And what do you do? Who do you trust? Do you trust your ego because that's the familiar thing that you've been trusting your whole life? Is that who you trust? Do you trust that part of you that is afraid and that part of you that's programmed, in order to be, a fine, upstanding citizen? Well, you have to be responsible, but only responsible the way the ego wants you to be responsible. How do you respond to these challenges that the Kundalini is bringing you? How do you respond like Santara did? Do you go out and do that which is not normal, that which is challenging, that which is, out there on a limb? Or do you fall back on the ego and go, well, I'll wait until the storm goes away, and I'll leave all my clothing on, and I'll add a layer of thermal underwear so that I don't get too cold, and I'll go out there with a towel, and I'll lay the towel down so I don't get too dirty. And I'll go out there with a really bright 1,000,000-watt flashlight so I don't scratch myself. And I'll wear these really, really, really heavy boots so I don't hurt my feet. And I'll only walk once around that pile of rocks because, well, I'm just not sure about why I'm doing that at all. How do you respond to the directions that your teacher is giving you and to the directions that your Kundalini is giving you vis-a-vis experiential directions? What are you doing? Who are you listening to and why? Just a few questions for you, my dear listener. Just a few questions. Santara Kundalini, do you have any questions from the groups at all?
Yes, I have a few actually, not very many today. I'm just getting them up now, Chrism. They're not so much, so one question is, how do our choices fit in to what people say is our destiny? That wasn't a question, but as such, it was something that I was formulating because people were speaking on the group about destiny. And I would just like to hear what you'd have to say about destiny and how our choices affect our destiny in a Kundalini.
Well, in a Kundalini context, you're born to have the Kundalini, and you can get it many different ways. You can get it through a spiritual practice. You can get it through an accident to the lower spine. You can get it through emotional emergencies. You can get the Kundalini activated in any number of ways. And that will not be accidental. That will be an act of destiny. People do not get Kundalini accidentally. Even though, they have that skiing accident or that helicopter accident or that car accident, they don't get it accidentally. It is going to come to them no matter what. And if some activity that person is doing, if they got up in the morning and they got up, they took a shower, they got dressed, they got the kids up, they gave the kids breakfast, they got them all ready to go for school, they load everybody in the car, they drop the kids off at school, They're driving back to the house, and the tree limb falls on the car and gives them a lower spinal problem. And oh my gosh, the Kundalini activates from that accident. Well, was it not destiny? Did that person not have to do a very precise number of things with a very precise level of timing for that to occur? I'm going to suggest that, yeah, they made all the right moves to have that occur. And so that is destiny. That is not chance. That is not randomness. What are you doing? Are you shuffling cards? What's going on here? Santara?
Me?
Yes.
No, nothing. Not anything. I sit here completely still. I have no idea.
Are you filing your fingernails?
No.
Okay, all right. So yeah, chance. Chance doesn't really come into consideration with regards to the Kundalini. Next one.
Okay, so there's somebody who is Kundalini awakening, and they're wondering about love. You know, they're falling into a lot of, let's say, love spaces again and again. Everything is love. They're feeling their heart. They're in the process of opening up, and they're wondering how are they going to know if they really love somebody, you know, if they're falling in love, if it's for real. Is it a true feeling? Is it a gift from Shakti? Is it just the universe, you know, being in love with the universe? If they're meeting men in a Kundalini, again, when they're feeling all this love, is it real love or is it they're confused?
It's real love, but is it romantic love? You see, that is the difference. For a time, while a person is within that blissful love state, I'll suggest you just, unless you're already in a marriage or in a relationship, that you steer clear of exploring new relationships just for the amount of time for your ability to discern one from the other, romantic love from blissful love or ecstatic love. This, you know, love for everything, love for the connection, love for every dust mote, every leaf, every stone, every animal, insect, amoeba, fish, all of creation. That is real love, and that is actually a greater expression of love than the romantic expression of love. The romantic expression of love is basically around the perpetuation of the species and mating with another person and being with that person, you know, for a long degree of life. It is not in the same context as ecstatic or union with the divine. It is that which is of the first and second chakra, not that which is of all the chakras. Okay. People sometimes confuse, you know, they get into this soulmate thing, this my twin flame thing. And this is just not so. Not to say people don't have twin flames, everybody has a twin flame. Okay. But that you'll ever meet them is very, very, very improbable. As much as that would, you know, people just hope and hope and hope, and it's like, oh my gosh, they meet somebody that they resonate with on a physical level, mental level, emotional level, and they just, oh, that's my twin. And I say, fine. Have fun with your twin, or what you're calling your twin. It's not about that real spiritual twin. It's just about your desires and your ego finding a certain level of fulfillment with the twin. But with regards to love, real love need not be conditional on a person's body, a person's looks, a person's style of shoe. It need not be conditional upon all the outward affectations that we have in our society. It needs to be of the heart, the inner person, the person that is within, the person that will get old, the person that will lose their beauty, the person that will not always be so sexually attractive. You know, it's not about attractiveness in that way. It is about love. It is about wanting to be with them no matter what. Let them be as pretty as a pig. It doesn't matter. It's not about beauty. It's not such a ephemeral skin deep type issue. It's far deeper than that. It goes to the core of the person. Okay, love, real love, is far beyond agreements. It's also about disagreements. It's about having patience and kindness and consideration, for another person. It's about giving more to them than you give to yourself from both partners, so that a harmonic is developed, a harmonic based in goodness and being able to accept the challenge of things that are difficult without, going to war with each other. It's about having patience and the requirements of grace that allow a person to be as they need to be when they need to be that way and still love them. That's just some of the qualities of real love. Some. Just scratching the surface here, Santara.
Thank you.
Look what you and Jay have. What do you and Jay have?
Okay, well, that's not a question to me. I think I won't say more today.
So here's
Let
the thing.
me off the hook.
You're off the hook. You're off the hook. I just want to say thank you to everyone for listening to today's broadcast. I would like to thank the newly christened Santara Kunalini for joining us as co-host. Used to be called Amelia Santara, now is renamed Santara Kunalini. She has joined with us in that way. Thank you, Rosemary, Josephine, and Eileen for being on the host. Thank you, Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez, for coming on board. And thank you to all of those in the chat room. I wished I could see you. I'll have to figure out why I can't. Thank you to everyone who is listening on their smartphone or their computer or their tablet. Thank you, everyone, for taking in this wonderful addition to the many Blog Talk productions. And is there something you would like to say, Santara Kunalini?
Just want to say thank you to everybody, and I read out Bruno's comment. It's just here now. It says, "Your words have so much love and wisdom, Chrism. It's all about teaching us. I'm grateful I made it to the Blog Talk." And that's from Bruno Rodriguez.
Thank you, Bruno Rodriguez. Thank you for saying such kind things, and for also joining with Eileen, and looking forward to seeing you in the beautiful country of Canada. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We've got literally 2 minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and end this program right now. Once again, everyone, thank you for listening to this Blog Talk Radio.